Good day and welcome to this fifth episode of what we are doing on our newly acquired plot. Now, as many of you will know, if you've watched the others, we used to have a half plot and a third of a plot, and they were about 100 to 150 meters away from each other. And then in October, a plot directly next to our first plot became available, and that is a half plot. And we have moved effectively from the 1/3 plot, which is some distance away, to the plot directly next to our original plot. So we have one full plot now. For a number of reasons, things are taking a bit of time. But we're beginning to get there, which is fabulous. It's really fabulous. If you've been following this series, you know what's happened already. If not, then do have a look at the playlist, which we'll put up on the screen. Today is going to be a bit of a bitty day. In fact, this video I think is going to be filmed over a number of days. I want to move the final edge bed, which is actually a raised bed, from our vacated plot up here. I also want to prune 2 roses that we have on this plot that have not seen any pruning for many, many years. I'm going to look at the compost bin. In fact, let's just go out there and I'll show you what I'm looking at today. So up here, sorry about long shadow, up here is our original plot, which came down to where this pergola thing is. And then this is the newly acquired plot, which was a real mess when we took it over. We have brought all of these edge beds up from the lower plot. We've already put all of that white vinyl down, and today, or in this episode at least, I want to clear this area and put the raised bed that we have from the lower plot in this place, which means I'm going to finally have to coil up those 3 or 4 hoses. These are just buckets because we had extra soil in this bed that was not necessary, so that has gone into those 4 buckets. And in here, if you've watched our plot tour video for March, you will know we've sowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of pea in here. So what else are we going to do? The compost bin, the end. If we just go over there, I want to get rid of that compost bin. I want to dismantle it. What I did notice, unfortunately, is that the fox has taken up residence, or at least dug a hole. That's what all of this soil is out here for. But yeah, that needs to be dismantled. The fox has plenty of other places to go. In its place, we acquired this hexagonal compost bin, and that is going to go there. And it's effectively going to be our composting area for the time being. So that needs to be done. What we're going to do with that black Dalek bin, I don't know. I'm going to have a look at the compost and see how good it is. If some of the compost can be used, then I will keep it. If it can't, or some of it can't, it will go onto a wildlife pile that we have quite a few plots away, but I'll wheel it over there. I am going to hopefully get round to doing something with this bed, which is our soft fruit bed. I need to start digging out the soft fruit that's in there that has not produced extremely well. Oh, it hasn't produced well at all, in fact. And then decide exactly how I'm going to base that. whether I'm going to do it the same way as I've done the other edge beds with 3 layers of cardboard and then compost, or whether I'm just going to put a couple of layers of cardboard down and then a membrane which I then plant through, because this is going to be our soft fruit bed. So it's going to have autumn fruiting raspberries, it's going to have a blackcurrant and gooseberries. So I might put a membrane down which I plant through. I'll have a think about that. Desperately want to get this out. It's a grape. Yeah, it's a sort of dead grape, and that's where our flower bed is going to be. And I've said about pruning the roses. I think that's most probably going to be it. If I can get around to doing those things over the next few days, I'll be quite happy. First thing is going to be moving these pots and coiling up that hose, then emptying the bed from the lower plot, which I'll show you now, and then moving that raised bed up here and leveling it off, which, as you may remember, is certainly not one of my most joyous tasks on the plot. Okay, so I would love to say I coiled all of that hose up, all 3 bits of it. I managed 1 bit, the other 2 bits wouldn't coil, so I admit I've just bunged it all behind the shed for the time being. Now in here is a thistle, or a bramble rather, so I'm taking that out now. That's done. Now to harvest the carrots from the other bed and start the job of bringing it up here. This is the bed that I want to move to the top plot, our newly acquired plot from our vacated plot, which is this one. And first of all, I need to harvest the carrots from it and also take those bottles up as well. Right, so I've taken all the carrots out. They're down here. There's some quite decent carrots there. Now I'm going to get a wheel. I've got weeds and things in here that will go into our hot bin composter. And now I'm going to start getting the compost out of here. This is, I believe, a Princess Elizabeth rose, well overgrown, has not been looked after for quite a while. There is some dead wood, which is obvious. There's obviously rubbing and crossing branches, and what I'm going to do is give it a really good cut back, because I would like the flowers at head height and below, ideally. And at some point there's just going to get too much wind onto these leaves and they'll start breaking. So I'm going to be cutting it back to about here. And in fact, if you can see in here, there's some more dead wood in there. I'm going to be cutting it back to about this height, which is, I would say, this is 5 foot 2 inches. If I'm 5'8", that's 5 foot 2 inches. I'm going to cut it back and see how it does this year. There's no way it can carry on growing and growing and growing like that without being maintained. So I'm just going to get in there now. I'm going to take some weight off the top area first, and then things won't be bowing quite so much. Now I'm going to start taking out dead wood. Now I'm just going to make sure there's no little dead branches. as you sort of do these things, you realize that maybe there are some things. So here is a dead branch that needs to come off. Maybe that one, sorry, there is a bit close to the stem. Maybe this whole thing needs to come back. There's a bit of dead wood up here, you can see there, and at the back here, this one, that one needs to go as well. Otherwise, yeah, pretty happy with that. We will see how it reacts in the summer. Again, this one hasn't had too much care for a while. I'm going to cut that back quite a bit as well, taking out all the dead wood that I can see first. Okay, you can hopefully see that a lot of the dead wood has gone. Let me just spin you down here. I'm in the way. I reckon half of that was dead wood. And now what I'm going to do is just start taking it down in height. Again, I think I'm going to just take it down to about 5'8", something like that. That's going to get rid of quite a lot of this top. If I see any branches that cross, I'm having a look at which is the one which I either want it to go into that direction or I believe is stronger, and I'm taking the other one out. Right, so that's had a pretty severe haircut, which is good. All of this has come off it. As you can see, if we come in here, I mean, that's a pretty old rose. There's lots of new growth coming here though, look, in the middle. So what I've done is I've left a lot of the really old growth on there, but given it a really, really tight haircut. It's now, actually it's supposed to be about, these here are about, yeah, in fact they're about 5'8". So I brought it down by about maybe a foot. There was so much dead wood in here because it just had not been pruned for many years. So what I'm going to do is leave this young growth in, see how that grows this year, and then next year we may take these older branches away, thereby rejuvenating the whole thing. Okay, so this is in place now. You can see it's a decking board higher than the others. All the others are a single decking board high, and this is two. There is room to put a third one, which I think we will do at some point. But now my job is high here, need to take soil here, need to take soil over here, and also a little bit over there. So Next job is to edge this in the same way as the others have been done. Okay, that's nice and solid on the ground now. Time to remove it again and put cardboard down. Let's see if we've got enough to do 3 layers. I somehow doubt it at the moment. Well, we did have enough cardboard for 3 layers. So the joyous thing about that is I can now start filling this. Fabulous. Right, so that's that bed filled to, what's that, it's supposed to be about 7 inches maybe. Obviously that will fall with the rain. I ideally would like to get another couple of inches on that. Of course, I mean another couple of inches of compost on that. And I'll look at the pennies in the bank account to see if we can afford maybe another 100 litres or something like that. But you can see that the layout here, I hope you can see anyway, has come together with 7 low edge beds and this one raised bed. And again, this raised bed, we would normally use raised beds for parsnips and carrots. And this soil isn't that fertile either, where of course the other 7 beds have been topped up with well-rotted horse manure and stable debris, which is pretty nutritious. So I think that's the job done today. Well, that is it for today anyway. I just need to clean these tools, so and just put a bit of oil on them, and I will be back to continue tomorrow. See you then. Well, hello. I bet you didn't expect to see me in our living room at the end of this video. Now, as I was doing the filming, and particularly as I was doing the editing, I realised that this is all getting a bit too long. So what I've done, being wary of the fact you wouldn't want to watch an hour and a half of me in one go, is I've split the episode 5 into 2, so it's now episode 5 and 6. So episode 5 is what you have seen, and episode 6, which is the clearing of the old pallet compost bin and erecting the hexagonal compost bin in its place, and also putting our aromatics in and a couple of other things. That is going to be in episode 6, which will be along pretty soon, as the footage is already in the editing suite, if you like. Hello, there's somebody waving at me through our front window. Anyway, there we are. This is episode 5. Thank you very much for watching. Episode 6 will be along. They're just standing there now. I'll wave it like that. Episode 6 will be along very soon. Bye.